All right, so this is a tutorial for In Christ Alone. We're doing this in the style, basically it's a transposed version, not just the style of, but an actual transposed version of the Shane and Shane cover of In Christ Alone. They do theirs in E, we're doing it in B. And the main things to get right with this song is the riff that is in the intro. It's the instrumental between the verses, and it is the outro. And then making sure to layer the rolling sounds appropriately and not adding too much energy too soon. And being mindful of the meter, because when you're doing those rolling sounds, it's very easy with those arpeggios and the way the rolling flourishes and riffs are to speed up without trying. So meter will be very important, and being consistent, because otherwise things start kind of spiraling out of control. So the tempo is 60. I'm gonna go slower than that for the purpose of showing the riffs. So that first riff, the and go through it, but one of the things I want to note is it's technically a 3/4 time song, but it's very difficult to count that riff in 3/4. It's a lot easier to do as a 6/8, which will not affect what anyone else is doing. It's for your own tracking. It's very difficult to keep track of that riff if you're not counting it as though it's a 6/8. So what you're doing is the same thing with your right hand the whole time, and it's your left hand that's changing. So it's F sharp and A sharp, and toggling back and forth with the B natural. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're changing on 5, 6, and then it'll be F sharp, C sharp to B, and then back, and then walk up to the D sharp. So what you're doing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so I'll go through it with my left hand too. Another note with the instrumental is when you repeat it, like oftentimes in chord charts, you'll see that there is a chord at the end that is also the beginning of the next portion, and so you kind of ignore one of them and substitute for the other. With the instrumental, when you wrap it back around, you're playing that B twice, otherwise it ruins the phrasing. So it'll be, I'm not going to say the G sharp and all of that, like the sharp and minor and 7 part, because it's too hard to say it out loud, but I'll say the chord change. So B, 2, 3, 4, G, 6, F, 2, 3, 4, D, 6, E, 2, 3, 4, F, 6, B, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's your intro. So you're playing through it twice for the intro, but you're only doing once for the instrumental in between the verses. And then as the outro, you'll probably want to do it twice again, because it's about how long you'll need. So for verse 1, we're not going to do all kinds of like, that's just too much at first. So in Christ alone, my hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song. for most of verse 1, it'll be just gentle chords. Where you do have kind of a little riff is to break up the two B chords. So at the end of He is my light, my strength, my song, you have a B over song, and then you start the next line with a B. And so to break that up you do a. So He is my light, my strength, my song, stone, this solid ground. So that's just so that you're not going, He is my light, my strength, my song, this cornerstone, my solid ground. It breaks it up. And then the next little mini riff you'll have as you're building. So this is just still the first time through the first verse where everything's just gentle chords. This kind of stuff, not a whole lot. You'll have that little riff between song and this cornerstone to break up the two B chords, so it's not just this boring, repetitive thing. And then over what heights of love, what depths of peace, what fears are stilled, when striving cease. There's a rolling that you'll do each time, actually, and you'll do it again in that same spot in verse 4, but a little bigger and a little more spread out. But it's a familiar mini riff. So what heights of love, what depths of peace, what fears so stilled, when striving cease. So that'll be the way you do it the first time through, and then you'll expand on it with each time you do that little mini, that riff in that section. So what heights of love, so you're rolling down G sharp, E, B, A sharp, B, C sharp, and then depths of, so F sharp, B, C sharp, and then F sharp. So those same notes kind of rolling back and forth, and then back to do that like very still, not too spread out the first time. The next time you'll do, it'll be more like what heights of love, what depths of peace. And then walk it down to B, A sharp, so that could be your second time through where your hands are more spread out, and then have those higher notes. We're getting a little more triumphal. And then here in the, so an option for that walk down. When you have that B/D sharp, E, B/D sharp, C sharp minor 7th, F sharp, and then B. So that first, like when you do it more quietly, just hit the chords. If you want to add to it, then kind of a rocking. And then as you add to it, can I just... So have some variations that you're building on. You don't want to show all your tricks at once, and we don't want that. This song has a very clear storyline, right? We're moving from somber to that big celebration, and this will be the highest point where we talk about that, you know, those lines, then bursting forth in glorious day. We want to make sure that we don't undercut the celebration in that part by coming out too fast, too soon, too big and ornate, because we're not there yet. So the phrasing of the song is very intentionally from somber to celebration, and we reflect that in how we layer, how we add, and we add movement, so we don't want to do it too soon. So in Christ I stand, and then this is where one of those situations where the last chord of the verse is the same as the instrumental, and we will just move right into, we won't play the B twice, we'll go in Christ I stand. Some more, it's kind of a simmering, like we're not going to go up too far, we're going to keep it kind of close to have that kind of simmering. We know something's about to spring. So it's a triplet, but we're not rolling it yet, we're not doing those crisp arpeggios yet. It's a so 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, so you start together, but it's 1 2 3 1 2 3. Breaking a chord, but between the two hands you're creating a triplet. So he rose again, and as he stands in victory, sin's curse has lost his grip on me. For I am, and then we'll go his. So when you get to for I am his, then you do the triplet 1 2 3 1 2 3 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then into the instrumental. So I am his is B, F sharp B, that's the triplet you're doing. And the same thing over the E. And then for the F sharp, it's A sharp, F sharp, A sharp. And then going from the B, F sharp B to A. So you're walking down when you're over the B slash D's. So E, D sharp, so that last line, bought with the precious blood of Christ. So B, F sharp, A sharp, F sharp, and then over the E. You can do the same B, F sharp, E, rolling it over the E, and then same thing over the B slash D. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then switching over the arpeggio when you do the F sharp. Then into the instrumental where it's more of the rolling. So the instrumental you do twice. So it'll be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. F sharp, C sharp, and then back to the B, F sharp, E, and then A sharp. You're kind of moving around between those three quite a bit. So this is the first time through the instrumental. B, G, F, D, E, C, F, and then second time 1, G, B, B, and then we keep it there, we don't change, have a little tension there. F sharp, D, and then over the D, F sharp, and then we finish the second time through the instrumental, we're bleeding into verse forwardly. No guilt in life, and then you'll come back on the no fear and death. So this is where the counting's really going to matter. So let's go through how that would actually count. So instrumental is the second time through. Okay, one more time, second round of the instrumental. So that's how that would count out. Although I can't promise you that everyone's going to come in at the right time because people start losing track of the count. So that last B of the instrumental should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then into verse 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is how it should count out. So that last B of the instrumental, we'd be counting 6. And then you'd continue that that triplet, that rolling down arpeggio, 4 counts. That's how many counts it would be for the no guilt in life before you switch to the no fear in death. And so we're back to kind of the way we were at the beginning when we're at verse 4, where it's more, we're just a lot more gentle. And the same between the B's. But your hands will be more spread out. It's a lot more dominant than in the verse 1. Then we'll do the Jesus commanded my death. Stronger, but you're not anywhere near where you were at in verse 3. So still kind of some of the same mood of verse 1, some of the same restraint of verse 1, but not as somber, because we're still finishing with power, but just not as big as verse 3. So I hope that all made sense.